The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore. Or is it Salvatore? I'll never know. Is it a 1988 action epic fantasy novel in the Dungeons and Dragons Forgotten Realms realm? And it's the first novel of Drizzt, of the Chronicles of Drizzt the Dark Elf. Drizzt Duorden, that guy. So, anyways, it's a relatively quick read, about 300 pages, and finished it a few days ago. It was fun, pretty badass. So the fight scenes surprisingly immersive and brutal. The rest of the book, okay, so a lot of cliches, a lot of corny cliches, pretty predictable, believable enough, but not incredibly immersive. The characters, there's some classy, universally comforting, familiar tropes. Strong, heroic, barbarian type dudes on a quest. You know, um, I think the most unique elements of the book are the world. Just this world is full of mysteries and bigger, cooler magic. It felt very. It's unique and special. This is my first introduction to D&D books, and I wanted to read this series for years, but I never got around to it. But I finally, at 32, I'm finally doing it. I'm finally reading the Drizzt series, and um, it was a lot of fun. So yeah, the most unique thing about it felt like a movie in your head, especially when it gets into magic. Things summoned from other dimensions, demons, and it's written really boldly. It's not overly descriptive or not very lore heavy. So it just like a good '80s cheesy yet simultaneously paradoxically badass action movie like Conan the Barbarian or something. It just drops you directly in a situation and you just go with it. You don't question it. Some things are obviously, I don't want to say ripped off, but heavily inspired from like Tolkien. And there's not a lot of new, highly original ideas. But all these little elements still come together just to make in the way that the experience is crafted. It has a youthful, new energy to it, even though this came out like almost 40 years ago now. It's crazy. Um, it feels like it has a good pace, like a movie like more modern pace where it focuses on the energy and the spectacle, and that makes it more cinematic in your mind. And so I think that's what's for me most unique about um, what like this series. But that's just me read. I can't really say for the whole series because I've just read the first book. But I immediately could easily waste endless. It's really like for me, it's really comforting to know that this guy's written, I don't know, like 30 or 40 books that I can fall back on. So I had fun. It wasn't the greatest fantasy novel I've ever read, but I recommend it for anyone who just wants some good pulpy fun action fantasy that's um, yeah. Are there better books out there in that genre? Probably, but I want to see where this character goes and what sort of other adventures and shenanigans he's got into because he does have a good, unique energy and mystery to him that I want to see. So I could see myself reading a lot of these books, but I don't feel, to be totally honest, I'm not feeling this desperate urgency to get to the next book. So it's not like the story really blew me away or was fascinating. But the important thing, if I could summarize it in one word, it was fun and it was a good time. So yeah, The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore. One thing I forgot. It used the word Tirith for a tower made of crystal. Magic cursed energy crystal. Like Minas Tirith from Lord of the Rings. And I just found that to be so cringe. And I'm sorry, but I gotta be honest as a critic. But I think it's also funny. I don't know. And also the use of mithril. Really? Come on. Like, could you have at least called it something else if you have to include like a special dwarven stone substance? You know what I mean? Like, come on. Blatant. It's like not very thoughtful. Just blatant Tolkien stealing. Tolkienizing. Anyways, but overall, I all those little details, and I forgot to say also the writing. is whatever. But there's moments of this beautiful imagery that just immerses you, especially during battles. And then there's really just corny, not good. I don't know, just not great, not the greatest writing. But all these things are minor detractors from the overall experience, and I think the overall experience is good. So that's what's important, to give credit where credit's due and focus on it. I give it personally, I give it an 8 out of 10. There is just not. There's never going to be. You can never run out of fa- fantasy that actually has, some red-blooded, actual, heroic, like masculine energy. There's just people keep wanting to mess and change and think it's so groundbreaking to like get rid of tropes and roles instead of seek to understand and define them more. And that takes me out of stories. So stories that have even the slightest bit of fantastical inspiration from actual medieval, like the heart and soul of like traditional chivalry, as it concerns like actually being a warrior. Like I'll never get sick of that. There's a lot of it out there, but I don't think that personally a lot of it is good and a lot of it is, you know, authentic. But this, despite all the high levels of magic and corniness and indulgence in the story, like it's still got that feeling of authenticity and in a way that's as good as Lord of the Rings, but probably for a more accessible audience, even more commercial audience. So it's got its place. I like the Forgotten Realms. I want to know more about it, but I want more interesting stories and I want to see more depth of these characters because these characters felt a little two dimensional. But anyways, now I'm rambling in circles, so that's more than you ever wanted to know of my official review.